Hey guys, it's me, Wilson, and we're back for another video, and we're not driving this time. I'm actually, doing a review on the Fanatec DD1 Podium base, I believe it's called. This is a new wheel I got gifted to me by McLaren, Shadow, and Veloce. Obviously, came from Fanatec. So, thank you very much to those companies and my team, obviously, for getting me this wheel. It's a very nice piece of equipment. Costs roughly, I think it's £1.7 thousand pounds or £1,700, and it's a very good wheel, very reliable from what I've seen. Doesn't really fault. I'm going to go into the in-depths about this wheel, why you should buy it or why you shouldn't if you don't want it. And this is a full review. Trust me, I'm not sponsored at all by Fanatec. I wish I was, but I'm not. There's not really much bad to say about the wheel, in all honesty. It's actually a very good wheel. There's only a few things maybe I could say about it, but yeah, they're not really fundamental major issues. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so here is the wheel. I'll just quickly scroll through it. I'm sure you know what I'm on about if you've clicked on this video anyway. This is the wheel. It's 1.8 K, but that's in euros, as I didn't mean to do that. That's in euros, so it's about 1.5-ish in pounds. That's just a rough estimate. Really nice wheel. If you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. That is the price. I don't think what I used to have is on this site, so I'm going to go quickly search up and give you a look. Okay, so this is what I had before. I do not know how much Newton meters it was. It's not a lot, probably about 5 or 6 maybe. Maybe, yeah, roughly, I think. So it's not a lot, whereas this wheel, I believe, is 20 Newton meters or something, which is a lot. You can get the DD2 base, which is about 28 Newton meters, I think. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's roughly round about that. This wheel, don't get me wrong, amazing starter wheel, but it had its flaws of it just worn out. It was belt driven, obviously. If you drove for long periods of time, you could feel the strength going. Obviously, in total, the strength is not there in this wheel compared to this one. What else? It was just, and it was not as reliable as this one, I would say, either. It was very heat sensitive. Not as bad as like the Thrustmasters, but it was pretty heat sensitive. Just, you would feel the weight go in it. Still drivable, but you definitely feel it go. But yeah, great starter wheel. They don't sell it anymore. The alternative to this is the small DD. It's like that, a bit more boxy. It's about €400, I believe. But we're not here to talk about other wheels. We're here to talk about this wheel. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's start off. Let's get the bad things out the way, because we don't want to end it on a bad note. Firstly, the things I don't like about this wheel is the Alcantara, this little blue bit, where your hands grip. Now, Fanatec, this is on a lot of wheels, not just the DD1. I guess the DD1's the base, but the actual rim, the Alcantara, I don't know why they're still doing Alcantara. It doesn't make sense to me. Your hands just sweat. It gets really loose. Don't get me wrong, it's very difficult to find a grippy support for your hands. It's usually always going to be slippy, but Alcantara, I just don't get it. It's always going to get loose. It's always going to get slippy. It just wears out extremely quick. Within a day of having this, it wears away, and I need to wear gloves. I just can't drive without gloves. I don't know how people do it. My hands slip off way too quick. So that is one thing I wish they would change. Maybe even just make it leather. If they made it leather grippings, it would be so much easier. I know leather wouldn't be completely ideal. It would still, your hands would still slip off it, but it would be so much better than this. I don't know what else they could use. I know Jake Benham, he wraps like tennis tape around it, which he said helps a little bit better. But yeah, either way, it's not ideal. I wish they would change it a little bit, because yeah, it's what it is. I do know one of the rims, I think it's got like where this blue bit, where these blue bits are, they've changed it. So it's like leather. What's the steering wheel look like? It's like white buttons and stuff, and it's like black leather on the sides, which I think would be a little bit better. But yeah, that is the first thing I would have to complain about this wheel. Now, the second thing isn't really a complaint. This is just something I would kind of want to change. These wee dials, if you just look at my mouse, these wee dials here, I wish they were just a little bit more rigid. They're too, you can move them with your pinky, for example, with ease. I wish they were just a little bit more clicky. Not too much clicky, but just a little bit. Really not a big issue. I mean, I don't use them anyway, but you can use them for brake bias, differential, all that stuff. I just wish they were as clicky as, for example, these ones in the middle. These click about really well, very rigid. You really need to push them about to make them move, which is how it should be. But yeah, that's only not really a complaint, just something I would change. I can't imagine it's something that would really put you off buying the wheel at all, really. But yeah, that's the only thing I would change. And I think that is it for the bad things. Honestly, I can't. That's the only things I can think that I don't like about the wheel. Other than sometimes these buttons, you can't see them. So as you can see on this screen here, these buttons are not on it. So on my screen, or on my wheel right now, there's a circle, a triangle, a square, R2, L3, L2, which obviously I don't use, I'm on PC, but that's just how it came. You can change them, but eventually these will fall off, and it will look like that on screen, which is a bit annoying. That's really the only other thing I can think about. It's not happened to me yet, but I can imagine it happen. It's going to happen to me. It's happened to my own wheel, old wheel. It's happened to a lot of people I know, which is just, yeah, it's just how it is. I guess it's just the glue they use or whatever. But yeah, that is, yeah, I think that's the final thing. But I think we should get to the good things. That is pretty much all the bad things out of the way. Not a lot of them. 3 bad things, and really, they're not really bad. I mean, you can live with them. Only one thing I really love to change are the grips, but that's about it. But let's get on to the good things about this wheel. So firstly, on this wheel, the actual wheel rim itself, which is mainly what we've been talking about, we'll get to the base in a bit, is the actual buttons. The buttons are just so nice, really nice clicks to them. I don't know if you can hear them from how far back I'm sitting, especially the paddle shifters. I'll let you listen to one. They sound really nice. You've also got, if I just turn it here, you've got a clutch paddle. You've got that on the other side as well. You've got your upshift paddle here, which is the middle one, and then you've got this one which you can bind to DRS, ERS, whatever you want. Something where you can quickly just tap it, push it back, and it does its job. But as I said, there's a lot of buttons on it, which makes this wheel extremely good for iRacing, for example. You need a lot of buttons in iRacing. F1, you don't really need to use a lot of them. You can quick bind them. For example, you can make these toggles. So you move one, it ups the engine mode, or ERS. As I was saying, you can use these for brake bias, differential. But I only use this. This one's not really used. I use this one, obviously, for controlling my MFD. And I use all these ones at the top. And I use these 2 black sticks here, which are very handy as well for looking about the place. These are really, really handy, actually. So that is another thing I really do enjoy about this wheel. But that is a very good thing about this wheel. Just the amount of buttons on this makes it so easy to bind stuff. Usually you're running out of buttons to do things. This wheel, trust me, you're not running out of buttons. You've got plenty. Compared to my old wheel rim, it was just a standard CSL Elite, which had barely any buttons on it. This is a major step up, and this is one of the reasons I would definitely recommend you buy it. Now, we quickly went over pretty much everything on the wheel. There's not much, I don't really think there's anything else on this wheel other than quick release, which is very handy if you're at some sort of rig where you want to remove this. You can remove it. You can't really see here. I wonder if I can quickly just show you here. Yeah, so this gold bit, you just untwist this, which I've not done it before, but you untwist this. I've got a pin in, so you take the pin out, and yeah, you just take it off like any other wheel. There's 2 like clips you pull back, and then you pull it, and it goes away. But yeah, other than that, I think that is everything on the wheel. I'm just looking at it now. Let's get to the actual base of the wheel, though. This is where the power comes from. Very big base, very heavy. You can tell it's pretty rigid when you first get it, first take it out of the box. It's got a nice wee LED light here, which I really enjoy. It's really cool, as well as on the actual wheel you can see everything like your setup. So you've got presets 1 to 5 on Fanatec. So let's say you want to race on a formula game, you've got preset 1, so your low wheel rotation, and then you want to go to rally racing, you can take this off, put your big circle rim on, change it to preset 2, and that's got your rally game preset for different force feedback and all that stuff. So yeah, that is pretty handy. That pops up here as well as the wheel. But yeah, the actual base is a monster. It is 20 Newton meters, I believe, which is more than enough. I don't think anyone would use it. So much power, so much torque in this wheelbase. I run, I believe, on the F1 game, I think it's like 74 feedback, and on the wheel, I think I run 70 as well, which is more than enough. I don't want my wheels super heavy. I think I'm in the middle of how light and how heavy some esport drivers use it. I think I'm about here. You've got Yarno all the way up here. I don't know who you'd have down here, but there's definitely people who run lighter than me. And at the end of the day, racing is not a weightlifting competition. It's the way you want it, and that's just how I like it. It's pretty nice. But yeah, this wheelbase is an absolute monster. Doesn't overheat. Really quiet. The fans don't go mental like the other one. Doesn't really have a fan, I believe. Really good wheel. Just everything's solid about it. When it does start getting hot in your room, right now in the UK, it's actually pretty warm. I don't know about Scotland. It's alright in Scotland. When you've got everything on in your room, though, PC, monitors, wheel, it does get pretty hot in here. And it doesn't start making a mare. My old wheel, when the fans started turning on, you could actually feel it through the wheel rim. And yeah, it was extremely annoying. But on this wheel, you do not have that. You can, yeah, it's as you turn it on when it's cool and set, it's the same as when it's extremely hot and really hot temperatures and you've been driving for 2 hours. It's the exact same from start to finish, which is really nice. I was kind of wary that maybe it'll even lose a little bit of strength in it, but it doesn't at all. Honestly, like, not even taking the mic here, it is a really good, solid base. Now, obviously, in the name of this wheel, it is a direct drive, and that means there's no belt inside this base. So it's literally just from the base to the wheel. That's why you can see this stuff here. This is direct drive, and that means you can also just spin it for as long as you want because there's no belt in it, which is it's quite fun when you're bored just to spin it. But more importantly, what this means is when you're driving on any racing game, it doesn't feel like you're driving a truck. It's very smooth, all one motion. It's really nice. The best way I can explain it is a belt-driven wheel like my old CSL Elite feels like you're driving a bus almost. There's that extra added weight, especially when you want to change direction. It's just a little bit more slow, whereas this, it's just, as you can see, I spin it a little bit and it just goes. It's really nice, rigid, just everything's, yeah, very nice about it. And honestly, I don't think there's much more I can talk about it. Obviously, what else can I see? Let's go through the photos. There's plenty of ports in the back of it. You do get a bigger power bank with this, obviously, because it's a stronger wheel. This is where it cools down from the back, yeah, but plenty of ports for handbrakes, just whatever you want. I'm pretty sure you can get an emergency stop button on this because it is a DD. It is very powerful. If you do spin or hit something, it does ping back pretty aggressively. So that is one thing you might want to be wary of, which is not a bad thing. It's just, yeah, it's just showing how much power it has, really. But yeah, all I can say is it's 100% worth the money. Not many people want to spend $1.5 grand though on a wheel, which I completely understand. You can get the small DD version of this. It's about half the size of that. You can get the same wheel if you want. And I think it's worth about £500. I could be completely wrong, but I think it is. And yeah, I think that just does the same job, really. It's probably a little bit weaker, and then a few differences there about, I think you can get it in 8 Newton meters, I believe. I don't know if that's the final power of it, because you can add more power to it with a bigger power supply, but I think it's roughly about 8 Newton meters, which is enough. This is 20, as I say, but I don't know how much percentage I use of it, but no one uses 100% of these. Like, no one, like, believe me, no one will be able to use it. You'll see challenges of it, but it's not quick, nor is it sustainable, nor is it safe. Yeah, it's just not ideal. But yeah, I think that's all I have on this wheel. As you can see, really nice photos here. You can change these buttons as well. But yeah, as I said, I do 100% recommend it if you've got the money to spend, or if you're looking for a wheel that you want to last you a very long time. I do recommend this. You could get a SimCube as well, I guess. Stuff like that. There is a lot of markets out there, but if you like your Fanatec software and equipment, yeah, really good wheel, really worth the money. But obviously not everyone wants to spend that much money on a wheel. I really like it. But that is going to be the video. I feel like I've went over everything. If you have any comments about the wheel, just leave them down below, and I'll go over whatever it is, whether it be, I don't know, how it feels, whatever, what buttons, I don't know, anything. I'll go over it and comment below. But yeah, I think I've went over pretty much everything. Definitely more goods than bads in this wheel. Even my cons of the wheel aren't even that bad. I just dislike the small things like the Alcantara, for example. But yeah, as I said, recommend it a lot if you've got the money to spend and you want to spend that type of money on a racing wheel. Thankfully, I didn't. Thanks to McLaren Shadow and Veloce for supplying me with this wheel. But nevertheless, hope you guys did enjoy the video. I will be uploading F1 22 settings, camera settings, all that stuff soon, because I'm sure you'll be asking my settings of this wheel and all the rest. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment if you need to, subscribe, which means a lot if you can, and I'll see you guys in the next one.